All right, welcome. We have a sewing boss interview today. I'm talking to Jaime Stepic, and she's in Georgia. She's going to tell us a little bit about her business, Gingham Eyelet. Welcome.
Thank you. So I'm Jaime. I am in Norcross, Georgia, and that is a historic little town that is about 30 minutes north of Atlanta.
So you are at your studio right now, I'm guessing.
Yes, yes.
Awesome. Yay, and I love it. I've seen the photos of it. It looks really, really cute, and we were just chatting about your signage just right behind you that you did yourself. I love that so much.
Thank you.
It probably makes a great photo backdrop, and I'm sure I've seen it on your Instagram too, of kids and adults holding up their sewing projects. It's like perfect.
Plus, I had this big blank wall behind here, and I didn't know what to do with it, so I figured that
I love it. Yeah, and you just projected your logo on and did the painting yourself. It looks really great. Yeah. To back up a little bit, you had mentioned that you have only actually had your studio for like a year or less than a year?
Less than a year. So I've been mobile since springtime of last year, April of last year. So I started in my garage with a converted garage studio, and I had 4 kids that came for my first spring break camp, friends of mine's children, and it just grew from there. So I started doing a couple private lessons, and then I started moving into teaching adults at, I would go contact restaurants and ask if I could use their space, private room space, like on a unbusy night, and do a little sip and sew for adults. And a couple art studios in my area, I asked them if I could use their space and do the same kind of thing, bring a project in.
Very cool. So you started out mobile, and then now you have an actual studio. Yeah. Is this studio, is it in a storefront, or is it kind of like in like a building? What's the studio set up like?
Well, it's because this is a historic town, so I'm in the old bank building of Norcross, and I'm kind of in the back section that they built on later when they had a teller window. So I'm in the teller window area. There's still safes here, and the night depository is right by my door and everything. So I'm kind of in a storefront, but I'm also off on the side of the building. So, which is good because I'm not open all the time. So I don't have the pressure of, being open all the time. So I'm just here for classes.
Okay, cool. But yet it's in a location that people will easily find you, and there are other stores in the building, and yeah, that sounds perfect.
Yeah, it's perfect. I couldn't have asked for anything else. It's just wonderful.
And do they still have the teller window in your space?
Yes, it's kind of across from where I am right now. It's off on its own, but yeah, it's still over there. So it's
so
funny.
Cool.
Yeah.
I love it. You started out doing mobile classes. Now you've got the studio. Are you still doing any mobile classes, or is it just strictly at your studio now?
Right now, it's just at my studio. When I was starting the business, I thought that I would buy a vintage camper or like a bus or something and move into more mobile, because I figured that would be an easy way to get into this with low overhead, because I started looking at spaces and I was like, wow, that's going to be a lot of sewing lessons to cover the rent. So, so I started looking at that. I lined up a couple places to park them even, and, started really looking at pricing that out. But then I was on a run one day after I dropped my kids off at school, and the space looked vacant, and I was like, well, I'll call about it and see, and he just gave me an incredible deal that was like obviously meant to be. So I went for it, and that was in October.
How big is your space roughly?
I do share the space. There's another office that's off to the side, but my neighbor is a real estate investor, so he's actually not even here that often, and we kind of work opposite hours. So, but when he's here, he's totally flexible. And we have a common area that I have pretty much taken over because I was here first. So he's just got his little office, and then so I use that like on the weekends for parties. And then I have 2 rooms. I have the one I'm in right now, which is, I don't know, I'm not good at square footage, but it's fairly large. So large enough for my 8 to 10 machines and a big cutting table.
Oh, wow.
And then next to it, I have a windowed playroom. So the window is into this room. And so I've got a little playroom so I can bring my own kids, and
Oh,
when kids
wow.
are here, between projects, they can go in there and hang out. I've got a little rope swing hanging from the ceiling and a teepee and all kinds of
Oh,
fun
cute.
little going crafts in there.
Good. Okay. Great. So will this be this summer? Will it be your first summer of summer camp? Are you planning on teaching a summer camp this summer?
I am. I've done a couple camps throughout. I did a Thanksgiving camp, and then I did two or three over winter break, and then I did a spring break camp again this year. So I'm not new to it, but I have a lot more going on this summer, so we'll see how that goes.
You say that your kids' classes, you have more kids' classes and more kid events going on than you do adult classes, or vice versa. I'm
kind of still figuring out what people want and where the business is. Because when I started here, when I first started mobile, it was more adults that were interested, because I was doing, more, zippered pouches and wine, you can bring your wine and everything, or buy wine at the restaurant. And I was struggling to get kids. And then I started here, and that was all I was getting for a while. And now, just in the past 2 months or so, I've had a ton of adults that are coming in. So it's all beginners at this point. I'm like beginner intermediate classes. I've added a few guest teachers to, kind of do some more advanced things. I've got a lady that does pattern drafting. She's a fashion designer, and she's contacted me and wanted to do a pattern drafting class. So that's been going really well. And, but mostly I'm kind of half and half, I would say.
Half and half. Okay. And you're not teaching all of the classes yourself at this point, are you?
Pretty much, but I don't have a whole lot. So.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. But do you feel like you're working a lot, or like summer camp? Are you going to have helpers in for summer camp? Because that's a lot to do.
I'm kind of waiting to see how many kids I get. So far, the most I've had for a camp is about 6, and I do try to cap it off at that if I'm going to be by myself, because I just don't want to, get a bad reputation when I'm starting out. So I'm going to see how it goes, and I've got a couple of people lined up that can come in and help me if I end up needing it. So, yeah.
Okay. So before you started doing any sewing classes out of your garage, was it kind of like always your dream to do something like this, teach sewing? Had you always been a sewer, or how did it all start?
I have been sewing for as long as I can remember, but my mom taught me. My mom was a really great seamstress. She doesn't think she is, but she's very good. And then I got really into it in high school with home ec classes, which they still have them back in the day. Yes. And now, I just throughout my life just kind of built on what skills I had with a lot of mistakes and learning process. But I was a teen mom, so I had my first son at 17, and he is now going to be 24 in September. So I've been a mom for a long time, and I didn't really have the chance to do anything that I actually wanted to do. I always had to make sure I was doing what my kids needed. So this is, I turned 40 last year, and I was like, well, this is the time I'm going to do something and go after this. So, and sewing was a natural thing for me to do.
What are your feelings about now that you've been doing this for almost a year? Is it kind of what you thought it would be? Or, can you see yourself doing this for a long time, or were you surprised? What was it like? What's it been like?
I love it. I mean, I love different things about it than I really thought I would. I love the business aspect of it. I love the challenges, of doing that, and getting through my first year, getting all the licenses and things. That's what I was most scared of, getting all these licenses and sign permits and getting through the taxes. And I was like, I know I can sew, but getting through all the business part of it is not my realm. But I found out that I am actually okay at that. So that's been different for me. And also I just love the kids are hilarious and amazing. And, the adults too are they just, they start out so unconfident and so much more cautious than the kids. And then they are so excited when they actually, turn out their first pillow, and, they just gain so much confidence so quickly. So it's just really cool to see the people learning the empowerment.
Do you, did you do any training or classes, or I'm always curious about what people kind of take as like, you know, writing a business plan. Do people actually do that anymore? You know, what sort of, you know, training or classes and starting a small business? Or did you do nothing, which is amazing?
I definitely looked, and that's how I found you actually, is because I was looking for, you know, I'm like, well, there's no sewing curriculum, or there are a few, but they're not, they're like dated, you know, they're projects I would not want to make. So I looked at that. I tried to sew as much as I could. Like I tried to sew every single day and, you know, just get better at things that I was not good at. I made myself sit down and like officially learn how to do a zipper, you know, like for real, and every kind of zipper, and, you know, learning piping and just, you know, everything that I could get my hands on that I could sew. I tried to do for a while, taking in a lot of sewing, just trying to push myself to learn as much as I could and get out of my comfort zone. And I also, in the late summer of last year, I entered an entrepreneurial contest for the county that I'm in. And you had to write a business plan, which I had not done before, because I was like, oh, I'm mobile, you know, I'm just taking this slow. And so I wrote this business plan, and I ended up finishing in second place of this. So which was great, because it pushed me to, you know, really understand what it was I wanted to do. And it was a wonderful experience.
I love that. So you actually wrote it. Do you feel like you've sort of stuck with the business plan, or do you, like a year out now, have things sort of changed?
I think a lot of it I've stuck to, but there's so much that I still want to get to. And I think that's really been the challenge for me this year, is I have so many ideas and so much that I want to do, and I cannot physically do everything, you know, at one time. So it's frustrating in that part.
I was pretty impressed that
thank you.
had not been doing this longer than you had. So yeah, clearly you're definitely doing amazing things. And I'm, you know, it's always like the testament to see all the smiling faces on social media, right? And it seems like you've got a lot of that. So
I'm trying.
Customers. Yeah, no, it's great. Do your kids, are they old enough to, so you have little ones too, besides your older son, right?
So I have my oldest son, who I said he's 23. My second son is going to be 20. And then I remarried and have a big gap between my kids. So my younger two are 5 and 2. So my littlest one's about to be 3. And so my 5-year-old is my only daughter, and, you know, not that really means anything that she's a girl, but, you know, she is not into sewing. Like,
funny.
Nothing to do with it. So she will make little beaded necklaces and art projects all day long, but sewing, no.
Really? And on, like, even on the sewing machine too?
No, she does not like it. I've tried. So, but I think she'll come around. She's got her own little personality, so I think she'll come around. But I did teach my boys to sew when they were little, and
good for you.
My older two. And I don't know how much of that they remember now, but, you know, maybe in a pinch they would know how to put on a button.
Sure. What's the biggest surprise that you've encountered? The thing that surprised you most about having a small business and working for yourself?
I had to really get used to working again, because I have been out, you know, since I had my daughter 5 years ago. She, you know, I decided that I was not going to go back to work, but I wanted to try to find something to do for myself. But, you know, I've been out of the workforce for a long time. So trying to get that work-life balance back and get that, the organizational skills that I definitely used to have as a single mom, you know, you had to, but trying to find that, and my family right away did not adjust very well. So to not have them around all the time.
Yeah.
But we're working it out, and, you know, we'll get there.
Oh, I know. I have one question. I saw a serger in your studio. Do you do serger at all?
I have not taught any classes on it. I've taught like a private lesson with it. I wouldn't say that I am so good at it that I would want to teach anything besides the machine that I have.
Yeah.
You know, the Brother, like the entry level model that you can get, because I know that they can get much more complicated than the one I have. So,
Yeah.
And so I haven't you know, we play around with it a little bit. I definitely surge things for people, like if we're making pillows or something, I'll go ahead and quickly do the edges. But yeah, not yet.
Yeah, no, I think it's definitely, that's actually kind of a personal question because, yeah, I've never felt confident enough, surging in general. I've never been a serger. Every time I sit down at my serger, the time it takes for me to figure out what I want to do, like the settings and threading it, I could have sewed whatever I wanted to sew on my regular machine.
It's true. It's so temperamental with the tension and everything too.
Yeah.
So.
Because I have an entry-level brother as well, and I think that's part of it. People ask me about sergers. I'm like, unless you want to spend a good amount of money on it, they're kind of a headache, you know, because of, tension and thread breaking. And so, and then to think about, like, people are always asking, do you do serger private lessons? And they want to bring their serger in and they want to know how, you know, to use it. I'm like, I don't have anybody on my staff that's that good, and I am definitely not that good. So we haven't brought sergers into our studio yet. So.
I know there's a place in Atlanta in downtown that does a serger class. So I'm curious. I may go take their serger class and see how it is. I don't know whether I'm a lot for my own, but you know, just to know for myself, I feel like I should have that knowledge a little bit better. So.
Totally. Have you taken other classes? I love to take, you know, things that I don't teach and already know locally. Do you find yourself doing that as well, or?
I haven't done a lot just because I always have the kids to consider. I have taken there's Savannah College of Art and Design that's now here in Atlanta. It's a really great design school. So I've taken a couple adult education classes there. I did a pattern drafting and draping class there, and a couple other things, but nothing major. I'm mostly, I would say, self-taught and lots of mistakes and seam ripper and
pattern drafting is major though. I feel like, are you a pretty good pattern drafter?
I can do what I learned in that class, just a basic sloper, but and I am very little, so I have to, I'm only 4'11", so I have to adjust a lot of things, but I can do very basic patterns, but nothing complicated, I would say. So I'm focusing on the beginner side for now, so we'll see. Hopefully I can keep continuing my education so I can teach a little bit more, but for right now, there's guest teachers for that.
Totally. That's a good idea. Well, thank you so much. I've loved talking to you.
Thank you. I'm so excited.
In touch. I will, I'll let you know when this goes up on the website. Awesome. And thank you. I really appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
All right. I'll talk to you soon.
Okay.
Bye.